Throughout history, the way we drink has told us as much about culture as the beverages themselves. Stemware isn't just glass or metal. It's a reflection of technology, artistry, and the values of the people who raised it in celebration. Imagine confidently walking into an antique store and instantly recognizing the exact era of a rare stemware piece, or finally understanding the hidden stories behind your own collection. That's what this video is all about, giving you an insider's guide to the evolution of stemware. Hi, I'm Carol, a retired teacher and vintage lover. I've been running my vintage Etsy shop for over 3 years with more than 1,000 sales. I'm not an expert, but I've learned a lot along the way, and I love sharing what I've discovered to help others enjoy the history and stories behind everyday objects. From medieval banquet halls lit by torches to Renaissance tables filled with glass innovations to the refined elegance of Federal America and bold glamour of Art Deco, stemware has always mirrored the design movements of its time. Each piece reveals clues about the materials available, the social rituals that shaped dining, and the craftsmanship people admired. And if you're someone who enjoys documenting learning, as I am, I've also created a free workbook and notes guide to go along with this video. It's available through the link in the description. I know that's not for everyone, but if you're like me, sometimes having a place to jot down details and reflect makes the journey even more meaningful. In this journey through the ages, we'll explore 12 distinct design eras, looking closely at materials, designs, and ornamentation. My goal isn't just to show you beautiful objects. It's to help you unlock the ability to date, identify, and appreciate stemware with confidence, whether you're a collector, a reseller, or simply someone who loves design and history. In the medieval era, stemware wasn't the delicate glass we think of today. Instead, goblets were often crafted from bronze or brass. These metals gave durability for everyday use and a sense of wealth and ceremony at the feasting table. The design was practical, wide bowls with thick stems and broad bases to keep them stable on rough wooden trestle tables. Many were simply hammered by hand, leaving subtle tool marks that we now see as ornamentation. More elaborate pieces might be engraved or cast with patterns, but most had a plain utilitarian beauty. Historically, these goblets reflect a culture where dining was communal and symbolic. Sharing wine or ale from heavy metal cups connected people to both status and tradition, making them an essential part of medieval banquets and gatherings. By the Renaissance, stemware began to look much closer to what we recognize today. Advances in glassmaking, particularly in Italy and the Low Countries, allowed artisans to move away from the heavy metal goblets more toward delicate glass. These pieces were often tinted green from the iron content in the sand used to make them, and tiny bubbles trapped in the glass remind us of the hand-blown process. The design emphasized elegance, slimmer stems, wider bowls, and details like knops or ribbing that both added beauty and made the glass easier to grip. Ornamentation could range from simple shaping to more elaborate Venetian filigree in wealthier households. Historically, this shift represents the Renaissance fascination with refinement and artistry. Owning glass stemware was a mark of status and sophistication, linking the dining table to the era's broader embrace of science, discovery, and beauty. In the American Colonial era, stemware was simple, practical, and handmade. Most pieces were blown glass, often clear, but sometimes with a gray or faint green tint caused by impurities in the local sand. If you look closely, you'll often see bubbles or pontil marks. small imperfections that tell the story of early craftsmanship. The design was sturdier rather than delicate. Short stems, rounded bowls, and heavy bases that kept them steady on uneven wooden tables. Ornamentation was minimal, limited to the natural variations from hand blowing or the occasional shaped knot in the stem. Historically, these glasses reflect the colonial spirit of resourcefulness. Imported glass was costly, so many households used locally made pieces that blended utility with a modest elegance. They remind us that even in a young America, people valued beauty at the table, though always balanced with practicality. By the Federal era, stemware in America had become more refined and elegant compared to the earlier colonial pieces. Improvements in glassmaking meant clearer, more uniform glass with fewer bubbles and flaws. The material itself reflected a growing sophistication in production. Design also shifted. Instead of the short, heavy stems of colonial glasses, Federal stemware was taller and slimmer, with graceful proportions that echoed the neoclassical style so popular in architecture and furnishings of the New Republic. You'll often see multiple knobs along the stem or a bowl that's more elongated and balanced. Ornamentation remained subtle. Fluting or faceted cuts were common, but the overall effect was one of symmetry and refinement. Historically, these glasses symbolized more than just tableware. They reflected America's embrace of classical ideals after independence, linking the young nation to the elegance and order of ancient Rome and Greece, and bringing that same sense of dignity to the dinner table. In the Victorian era, stemware became a canvas for decoration and display. Instead of the plain, functional glass of earlier centuries, these pieces were often made of lead crystal, prized for its clarity and weight. The material allowed light to sparkle through the intricate cut patterns, adding brilliance to the table. The design reflected the Victorian love of ornamentation. Stems grew more faceted, bowls featured elaborate diamond or fan cuts, and pressed glass imitations made decorative stemware affordable for the middle class. No longer just about utility, these glasses were designed to impress. Historically, this shift mirrors the values of the Victorian age, an emphasis on status, display, and abundance. Stemware wasn't simply for drinking, it was part of a showy table setting that expressed both wealth and refinement in a period defined by its elaborate style. Art Nouveau stemware, popular in the late 19th and early 20th century, is instantly recognizable for its flowing organic style. The material was often colored or tinted glass, sometimes enameled, which allowed artisans to create striking pieces that went beyond simple function. The design featured long, graceful stems and bowls that seemed to grow naturally from the base, echoing vines and blossoms. Ornamentation was central to this movement. Etched leaves, curving tendrils, and floral motifs were often worked directly into the glass, turning everyday stemware into works of art. Historically, Art Nouveau was part of a broader cultural shift, reacting against industrial mass production by emphasizing craftsmanship and nature's beauty. On the table, these glasses reflected not just refinement, but an artistic philosophy, bringing the elegance of the natural world into the rituals of dining. Stemware of the arts and crafts or mission era reflected these same values as the movement itself: simplicity, honesty in materials, and craftsmanship over ornament. These glasses were often hand-blown or pressed glass, sometimes with earthy tints like amber or green, showing the influence of natural tones. The design was sturdy and functional, with straight sides, thicker stems, and broad bases. Instead of delicate elegance, the emphasis was on utility and balance. Ornamentation, when present, was restricted, often geometric bands or stylized motifs that echoed the movement's love of natural forms without excess decoration. Historically, this stemware fits into a period when artists and designers were reacting against mass-produced, overly ornate Victorian goods. The arts and crafts ethos brought tableware back to handcrafted integrity, aligning with the simple oak furniture, pottery, and copperwork of the time. These glasses embody that ideal of beauty in usefulness. Stemware of the Art Deco era from the 1920s and 30s reflects the bold elegance of the time. These glasses were often made of clear crystal, prized for its brilliance, and cut with sharp geometric patterns that caught the reflected light in dazzling ways. The material emphasized clarity and glamour, perfect for the age of jazz and cocktails. The design was modern and symmetrical. Tapered stems, angular bowls, and motifs like chevrons, sunbursts, and stepped lines that echoed the architecture and fashion of that period. Ornamentation was crisp and geometric, a striking contrast to the flowing organic shapes of Art Nouveau before it. Historically, this stemware captures the optimism and sophistication of the interwar years. Dining and entertaining became a stage for style, and these glasses embody the glamour of the Art Deco movement, streamlined, modern, and unapologetically stylish. Mid-century modern stemware from the 1950s and 60s reflects the sleek, minimalist design values of the era. Materials included both clear and tinted glass, smoky gray, amber, even olive tones were especially popular. The emphasis was on modernity and clean style rather than ornate decoration. Designs were streamlined with tall, slender stems and simple geometric bowls. Some pieces included subtle accents like frosted bands, gold rims, or atomic age motifs, but the overall look was uncluttered and elegant. Ornamentation was minimal, aligning with the mid-century philosophy of form following function. The beauty came from proportion, line, and innovative use of materials rather than heavy patterning. Historically, this stemware fit perfectly into the new American lifestyle of cocktail culture, open-plan living, and stylish entertaining. These glasses embody the optimism of the post-war years, modern, functional, and designed to complement the clean lines of the mid-century homes. Stemware of the Postmodern and Eclectic era from the 1980s and 90s was bold, playful, and anything but traditional. Materials included clear and colored glass, often in bright tones like red, teal, or smoky gray. Instead of striving for uniformity, designers embraced contrast and surprise. The design broke away from classic proportions. Bowls might be oversized, stems chunky or angular, and no two sets had to match. Ornamentation ranged from geometric ribbing to painted dots or metallic accents, borrowing directly from the Memphis design movement and the pop culture energy of the time. Historically, this era reflects a shift away from strict rules of form and function. In a world of increasing globalization and individualism, stemware became a way to express personality. Dining in this period wasn't about tradition. It was about fun, freedom, and making a statement at the table. Stemware in the Y2K and early 2000s era leaned heavily into sleek, mass-produced designs that matched the minimalist, futuristic aesthetic of the time. The material was almost always clear glass, often machine-made for uniformity, with accents like frosted bands, etched stripes, or metallic rims in silver or platinum. The design focused on tall, elegant stems and oversized bowls, reflecting the growing popularity of wine culture. Shapes were streamlined and modern, sometimes paired with bold pops of color like cobalt blue or frosted stems that instantly signaled the era's style. Ornamentation was subtle, more about finish than elaborate decoration. Instead of heavy patterning, these glasses conveyed sophistication through clean lines and trendy accents. Historically, this stemware represents the lifestyle shifts of the early 2000s, an embrace of global wine culture and the influence of crate and barrel and pottery barn aesthetics, and a desire for modern elegance that felt both everyday and aspirational. Contemporary stemware reflects the way we live and entertain today, stylish, versatile, and often more casual than in the past. One of the biggest trends has been stemless wine glasses like these, made from lightweight, machine-blown crystal or durable glass. They're designed for everyday use without sacrificing elegance. The design is simple, rounded bowls that sit directly on the table, often oversized for red wine and slightly smaller for whites. Ornamentation is minimal. Today's look favors clean lines and clarity, though some versions feature subtle etching, metallic rims, or even dishwasher-safe finishes. Historically, this shift speaks to modern lifestyles. People want glassware that works for both casual gatherings and stylish dining, something easy to hold and easy to clean. Stemless glasses have become a symbol of contemporary entertaining, practical, modern, and perfectly suited to the balance of form and function that we value today. As we've seen, stemware has transformed dramatically over the centuries, from hammered bronze goblets to delicate Renaissance glass, from the ornate brilliance of Victorian crystal to the sleek stemless designs we use today. Each era reflects not only changes in technology and style, but also the values and aspirations of the people who use these pieces. To help you decode your own collection, here are a few key identification markers to keep in mind. Stem and foot variations. The subtle shifts in proportion and shaping that signals different eras. Bowl shapes and decoration techniques. From delicate engraving to bold cut patterns, each tells a story of its time. Manufacturing clues. Details like pontil marks, mold lines, and finishing techniques that reveal both age and origin. When you start noticing these features, every piece of stemware becomes more than just a drinking glass. It becomes a small window into history. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Which design era of stemware resonates most with you? Are you drawn to the elegance of Renaissance glass, the sparkle of Victorian crystal, or maybe the bold geometry of Art Deco? Share your thoughts in the comments. I can't wait to see which styles capture your imagination.